What's up, everybody? Welcome back to another Unreal Engine 5 game development live stream. We're back in our Deck Knight project, a game built from scratch, of course using Unreal Engine 5, Blueprint, C++, the Game Playability System plugin, and all of that good stuff. So today we're going to be working on some more optimization for our damage pipeline, because I had noticed, and I'll show it on stream in a moment, I'll need to re-enable it, but I noticed that, the way I was doing damage calculation and damage executions and stuff, I was not doing it in the most optimal way. I was creating a new object and kind of creating a gameplay effect from that object and everything like that, rather than kind of constructing one from a gameplay effect class and kind of invoking logic on it from there. So I was already able to shave a good amount of time off of our damage application function here, this apply damage to target internal function. I have the scope here. So I'll show you what it looks like when I re-enable the lines in our, I believe it's under damage execution for lifesteal mechanics. So, taking the damage that you deal to somebody and then receiving it back to yourself in the form of healing. So let's go ahead and find that. I don't remember where I put that. I'm guessing it's under damage. There's data, debug, there's healing. So I do have a healing execution, and I do have a damage execution. Here we go. So I believe it's part one is in this line. I think maybe it's all of it in this section here, but we're more or less creating a new object here, this incoming healing effect, and performing some sort of logic on it with a healing execution definition and all of that stuff. And then sending information here. And yeah, I'm pulling the data from this ability system project settings, which probably isn't necessary. But yeah, I'm getting the healing class, this execution class, which I shouldn't really need. So let me enable that again. Actually, let's first do a test, right? Let me do it before and after. So we're gonna start a trace, feel damage, stop. We're gonna find it, and we're going to highlight it. Let's zoom out, find our game thread. And here's our events, right? So let's pick this one. So we're gonna zoom all the way in. And right now it's 43, I guess, nanoseconds. I think that's the unit of measurement there. Which is good, right? But if I were to enable this, right? We should see a pretty significant spike. So let's look at it. It's, we'll run it up to 50 nanoseconds, I think. So let's recompile that. And we'll also have to take a look inside of our healing execution. I don't think we're doing anything else in here. We're capturing stuff. But we're also gonna have to start injecting some new callback delegates and stuff for our damage pipeline for when we receive healing and maybe receiving damage and things like that. So that'll be next. But yeah, we're doing all this stuff. We're doing all the healing, and then we're constructing a payload, and we're sending events. But we'll probably want to do that async as well with the healing execution class. But we should see the repercussions of enabling that back on. And what we would want to do is, I don't think I created it yet. But we want to create a gameplay effect class. We have a couple gameplay effects for damage. We have the damage effect, a damage over time effect. So we'll probably want to have like a healing and healing over time effect. So we're gonna have to construct that in similar ways. But let's take a look. Starting a trace. I'll deal damage to myself, and then I should see healing happen, right? It's very minimal healing, but we're not really seeing anything yet. Just because I'm dealing such a low damage, but the point should be made. So if we look again now at apply damage to target internal. Can I not copy that? Copy. Paste. Yeah, so now highlight. Just grab random one here. So now we're seeing it went from like 50. I'm assuming again nanoseconds to almost like more than half of a millisecond, I believe. Let me see. Nanosecond symbol. Let me see what that is. I don't know. Is it microsecond? Yeah, it's a microsecond. So, microsecond to millisecond conversion. I guess it's 1,000 or 100 or something like that, right? So we are taking, we'll round this up. We are, where are we? Let's re-highlight that event. So yeah, we're at 671. So 670, we'll round it. So yeah, we're more than half of a millisecond, which isn't great, especially for something that's going to be happening a lot across multiple different characters and in multiple different places. So that's what we're going to be aiming to fix. Because there's also this WP lifesteal and all this widget tree stuff that's happening. Might want to handle things asynchronously in some places, but we'll have to see. So for this, there's a couple different things that we want to do. First, where did that logic go? This healing execution, we're doing all of that stuff. But, oh yeah, healing. In the damage execution, we shouldn't have to create a new object or anything like that. We should be able to just make a class that already contains this kind of healing execution. So, for example, we have this damage effect, right? And, we could, well, I don't want to. We'll keep it separate. There's going to be a damage and a healing effect, right? So let's split move to the right. So, what we'll want to do, and I don't think it's there, so we might want to make it in like a healing subfolder. We're going to go to new C++. Actually, yeah, I could do it in here. So let me make a new folder. So, healing. Add Unreal class. And it's going to be of type gameplay effect. And we'll just use my gas course gameplay effect, and we'll call this GASC underscore healing gameplay effect. And this is going to be private because we're in the CVP. We're going to say okay, and we'll say add. And yeah, I was hoping it wasn't going to do that, but we'll figure this out. So damage, healing. We want to do gameplay effect. Yeah, we want to create a healing directory and move the header. Oh, I'll move there for a sec. Move that up. So I'll need to update this as well. So it's going to be, we don't need more minimal. This is going to be include the game ability system, ability effect, healing effect. Heyo, I developed things. Thanks for the raid. How's everybody doing? How's your stream developing things? What did you develop? Develop these hands. So for those joining, my name is Devin Cherry, aka Jevons Cherry's Game Dev. Working in Unreal Engine. We're working on our little project here. Kind of working on a little bit of optimizations. Went on a crazy refactor stream making a stat system. Hell yeah. And yeah, enjoy your food. Hope you get something good. I just ate a bunch of Mexican food. Don't feel too proud about myself, but you know, it's life. Yeah, ultra wide streamer, baby. I could zoom in if it will help. But yeah, just to kind of recap what we're trying to do, because we're trying to do a little bit of optimizations for our damage pipeline. And we did a bunch of it already, but we're trying to wrap it up so we can move on to, creating our events that we're going to be broadcasting, and then working on our IMGUI debugging and things like that. So just to give you a little hint, we are trying to optimize our lifesteal mechanics, and so without the lifesteal mechanics enabled, our damage event is somewhere around 50 microseconds, and with it enabled, it's about 600. So it's definitely like a no-go, especially with all those types of damage events that we want to do. So that's what we're going to be aiming to fix, and the reason why it's happening is a pretty silly one on my behalf, because whenever we're doing any sort of damage and we do lifesteal mechanics, we at that moment create a new object for our gameplay effect, where we shouldn't really be doing that. The performance graph thing, this is Unreal Insights. It comes with an Unreal Engine. I don't know if you have to, it's not a plugin or anything. I think it's enabled by default. You might need to just compile it. Yeah, so what we're doing is we're creating a C++ class for our healing gameplay effect that will kind of construct the execution class that we want and the duration policies that we want, similar to what we did for damage, because I was also doing the same thing for damage. And so our damage event was like a millisecond or more each time. And with the kind of game I want to make, I want to be applying damage and healings like a shit ton across multiple different actors and characters in the player. It is single player. I used to be a multiplayer, but now it's single player. So that's what we're aiming for. So what we can more or less do is we can copy this, I think. Let me just make sure. Are we missing anything? It's just the constructor, so I shouldn't be missing anything, right? So yeah, generated uClass body. You need to grab that instead. Do something like that. Then we can grab this. Something like that. Obviously change the class name. And now we need to include the healing execution class that we have. So hash include game. Don't remember. Let's try to find it again. Is that under systems? Yeah. Systems healing. Express execution. Something like that. And that should be enough to then be able to construct it that way I want to. And we're gonna have to do it in a very similar way to how we're doing it in our damage pipeline, and I wonder if I should kind of handle it in the damage pipeline. Like if I should have kind of callbacks into the pipeline for when you heal, because it's weird that it's happening within an execution class, you know? Yeah, I'm deep into gas. I'm gassy. So I'm wondering if that's the most appropriate place to do. Yeah, I'm not an indie dev. This is my project I work on the side. But yeah, I work at CD Projekt for the last couple of years. I didn't work on Cyberpunk or Witcher 3, but I'm working on Witcher 4 at the moment. But you know, when I'm not working there, I'm working on this little project for funsies and for learning and just trying to get better at my job and how I communicate and work with other people. You know what I mean? But if I can also make a fun game on the side, why not? So yeah, the way we're constructing a spec handle here is what we would most likely need to do, and probably I should handle this in the damage pipeline. But we'll just replace the logic in the execution, prove that works, and then factor it out there. Cool. Congrats on landing a gig at such a company. Thank you. I appreciate that. It took a while to get there. You know, I've been working in games. Like I went to college for it back in 2010, 2011, and I, you know, studied game design, which, you know, nowadays I think I won't say it's a worthless degree, but I don't think you really need to go to college for this stuff anymore. You can learn everything on your own and just find like-minded people online and make projects together and kind of work your way in that way. But yeah, I was working there, and then I got my first gig in Serbia, where I was working on Aquanox for a couple of years, Aquanox Deep Descent, and then I got my job at People Can Fly, where I worked on Outriders and Outriders World Slayer, the DLC. And then after that, that's where I got into CD Projekt Red. So it was around 2022, and I've been there since. Yeah, so more or less, we need to do something very similar to what we're doing here. We need to make an outgoing spec, get a spec handle. Probably also need to do a context handle. So I'm gonna more or less copy this. So in theory, I should first be able to just take this out. And also comment this out. And then here's where I should be able to do the bulk of it. So I already have our references that I believe I need. Right, we have target and source, ability system component. So we'll say instigator. Can I not say? What's the name of that variable? Am I crazy? It's source. So yeah, source is what we need. So source, ability system component, make context. And then yeah, we need source actor, spec handle, and then yeah, duration type. We don't really need to worry too much on that. We're assuming instant at the moment. There might be maybe an interesting mechanic that we can build into the lifesteal. Or, you know, if you have a certain perk or a certain card enabled, it evokes over time healing rather than instant, which I don't know why you would want over time, but, you know, could be interesting build mechanics. So we got source, and then we don't want to include this one. We want to do this one. We need to include that. And And now that we have the spec handle, that's where we eventually need to integrate the set by color magnitude and add the tags and stuff like that. So eventually we get to like here, right? I should be able to more or less kind of grab the last few lines. It won't be one-to-one, I don't think, because we need to just do it from the spec, it seems. So I should be able to say that spec handle sign data, something like that. Good. Where's damage spec? Where is the damage spec? So this is spec handle. We'll see if this works. And spec handle dot data dot that. So that's that. And then last but not least, yeah, we get to this, right? Should be able to say spec handle. Is that how it's written here? Just damage spec. Oh, what's the difference here? So we're getting back the F gameplay effect spec handle. Still blows my mind how much little things you need to do just this kind of execution stuff in Gas. Played a little on a previous project, but it gets crazy. Yeah, it gets a little bit crazy. But you know, once you kind of have it, like I guess like anything, you know, once you have it all in place, it's, you know, a cakewalk at that point. But you know, there's cases where, you know, I don't do anything correctly, or I find a better way to do it, and then you kind of have to jump back in. So it could be annoying for sure. I think in theory this should work. So yeah, let's do a full recompile. Because when we worked on Outriders, well, never touched the code or anything. Just worked gameplay effects and all that stuff, but it still got pretty crazy. But you know, the hopes and dreams of Gas is that, you know, you kind of set everything up within attributes, and then you just use the magic power of gameplay effects to do a bunch of shit. But you know, sometimes it's not the case, right? I'm surprised that compiled on the first try too, so you know, big ups to that. But yeah, just to give you a little bit of what we're working on. You know, we have our character. You know, we have a basic melee ability combo. We have some dodges. We have a charge slam mechanic. We're working slowly on, you know, blocking locomotion. And then the main hook of the game that we're trying to get is, and we're gonna have to do another change of stuff, but you know, I want to be able to have these cards that you can access that give you some sort of benefit, buff, or debuff the enemy, or some passes or some active abilities. So for example, you can do card 2 is what gives you 100% crit chance, and then this one is crit will apply burn. So then when you hit, deal damage, you deal crit, and now you're, you know, dealing a bunch of crit damage, you know. And so you like activate these cards as you play. They have, you know, one-time uses, maybe infinite uses as long as it's in your hand and activated. But yeah, it helps. Oh, something went wrong with the clips. Uh-oh. Sorry about that. Sorry about the audio. But yeah, that's more or less the idea where you have these cards, you construct a deck. It's like a deck builder mixing with a, you know, kind of third-person action game. Like I want the camera to be more out here, and you know, you'll have the cards kind of like in front, in the center, and you'll be able to just pull cards from the deck. And we're going to try to figure out what those cards are and how they work, the different types, and how you kind of mix them in with the gameplay. And then at the same time, you'll be fighting off waves of enemies, and then there's, on top of those waves of enemies, I want there to be a high-level AI that's also playing cards against you. So he can buff his mobs, he can debuff you, he can set up traps, and you can then use your cards to negate those or overpower yours and stuff like that. And in order to play a card, you have to use these card resources, which is in the bottom left, these little circles that are filling up. I want you to be able to earn more of these resources as you're playing like more well. You know, you're dealing damage more, or you're killing more enemies. That will reward you with these points that you can then spend back into cards and things like that. So that's the basic idea. We're kind of just really working on some of the low-level systems and stuff like that. But so far, you know, it's okay. And I know there's going to be a lot of damage number generation. I know there's going to be a lot of healing and damage execution classes being, you know, performed, and a lot of projectiles at a certain point, and a lot of effects and things like that. So I just want to make sure I optimize as much as I can without, you know, optimizing myself into the ground. Because I think on my development builds, or even my shipping builds, but my development builds, I think I'm getting like around, in this small, like kind of empty level, I'm getting, I think, like 200 something FPS, but when I'm not streaming. So obviously it might suffer at the moment. But just to show you a little bit more context here. So, you know, we have around 170-ish. And, you know, we also have I Am GUI. You know, I have a quote-unquote wave manager that just lets us spawn dummy characters. So, like, I like to just spawn a bunch of these and look at, like, the FPS and everything, you know, and just see how things kind of play out. And these dummy enemies, they have an attack that can, you know, spawn a projectile that has an AoE effect, and, you know, they have these targeting things under here. So I want to try to make sure I optimize as much as I can here. Obviously, there's a lot of debug drawing that's really hurting performance, and there's a lot of, like, widget drawing overlap as well happening. Like, they're all drawing their health bars, and they're all visible, and that's a lot of drawing on the UI. So I'll need to find ways to optimize that, you know, hide health bars if they haven't been dealt damage, and if the damage is not, you know, less, if it's at 100% or near 100%, you know, don't bother showing them, or if they're not the target of anything, you know. So I'm trying to optimize, like, this layer as much as I can, just so I can have a little more, I guess, free reign to have interesting environments and dynamic environments. Like, I want to keep the stylized approach, kind of keep the graphics sort of simple, but, you know, have the arenas that you're fighting in be a little bit dynamic, where, you know, a lot of things can spawn or come in, the arena can change its layout and stuff like that, and I just want to make sure I give myself enough frame time to handle that. And then eventually, you know, maybe we'll want to introduce different classes for the player character. So right now we're just working with a melee focused character, but maybe there could be a mage, there could be like a rogue or something like that. But and then included in my refactor is, you know, this damage pipeline stuff. So you'll be able to, like, debug all the hits that happen, and you can kind of just preview them and look at the information here, so you can see who you hit, get some context in the hit result. And then I'm going to do the same thing for damage, so you'll see the amount of damage you dealt raw, the damage you dealt after any sort of modifiers, kind of looking at the modifiers that inflicted the damage calculation. And same thing for healing, obviously, but yeah. So that's the idea. I'm doing a lot of like debug management as well for this project, because I do want, I do have a friend from back home helping me as well, so I want to make sure she has debugging tools to like kind of help fix shit. So, but I'm learning a lot doing it, and I'm learning a lot from my job as well to kind of factor these things as well. So I think it's promising. It looks cool. I just really got to start focusing on the primary mechanic, which is the cards, and how you execute them, what they do, the types of cards they do, and the visual language for that, and things like that. So let's see if our initial refactor here made a difference, and let's see if it even works, because maybe it doesn't. It's always a possibility. So we basically just traded in this stuff for simply just this. So let's see. I should be able to also, I have my gameplay attributes. I can modify my attributes at runtime. So I believe I have, maybe under health attributes, I have all damage healing coefficient, which is at, 1%. So if I just make this 1, I should be able to heal 100%. Yes, and I do. So I got 3 back. So let's do that a few times. I'm back. Bam. Okay, I wasn't doing a trace there, so let's do that all over again. All damage healing coefficient. Bam. So 1, 2, 1, 2, 3. Okay. Okay. Do that. Now let's look at that. Scope here. So if you remember, we were getting roughly 670. And before healing, did I record correctly? Alright, just to be safe, let me record one more time. One, 2, okay. Let's zoom out. Let's find our game thread. Should be able to dock it too, right? We have a couple here. Let's pick something. This. Yeah, we're still getting quite a lot, honestly. And I guess it's because of all of this stuff that we're doing in that frame. I wonder if we also need in this healing execution, there is this, because it's to get information about the sending events back. So there is send event async. I wonder if this is going to help. Yeah, there is a lot of redirection that I'm seeing too. Why am I sending this event On target healed. So if target gameplay ability system and current health does not equal max health, we're sending the same thing to the same character twice. So that seems kind of stupid, honestly. Let's see if that makes any sort of difference here. But I'll have to see why. I think a cast is slightly faster than Izza, too, if you want to shave even more. Sure. I'm always down to shave a little bit more. But I gotta remind myself what I'm doing here. What is this tag? So event.gameplay.onTarget field. So this is the healing execution, right? Okay, I'm looking at the wrong thing again. I'm looking at the healing execution thing. So ignore that. Thanks for that follow. Me too. Appreciate it. Let's see. Okay, in the damage execution, yeah, we're doing that by gameplay spectrum. Oh no, I'm looking at the right place, and my head is all types of confused. So this should help. Not damage pipeline. Is that function? But damage execution. No, sorry, the pipeline here. Still quite high. Yeah, there's also, we are creating, probably not in the most effective way, I think, this WPP lifesteal. And adding it to canvas. I know I'm doing that in a pretty stupid way. I have this lifesteal container. Yeah, we're waiting for getting healing, and we're creating a lifesteal thing and just adding it on a random position here. So this is probably the major culprit. No, that Streamlabs thing. I think there's also a follower from Kick, so it shows it on Kick as well. So maybe there's some overlap there. So let's see. Timing, impeccable timing, yeah. Oh yeah, we're no longer showing the healing thing, which I want to show, but I think there has to be a better way of doing that. So that's that one. Then there's that one. So we went from 1.8 to about 1.2. Now we're pretty significantly reduced. Still not as much as I'd like. Yeah, because there's this on status effect and all this stuff. If it's just a sprite, could keep the widget going and render it with Slate in the on paint. I did my health bars this way. It's so lightweight. I mean, I'm not too super familiar with Slate and on paint, because yeah, all it's really doing is, you know, it has this container, and you know, every time we receive healing, it's adding, yes, this icon in a random position in this container, which exists in the nameplate right here. So I know there's definitely a better way of doing it. I know that what I'm doing is crazy. So you'll see, you know, I don't mind the back seating, you know. So I know that is a pretty heavy thing. And yet the lifesteal then, you know, has randomization and scale and has an animation on it as well. And I wonder if it can be a simple, like kind of like randomized parallax, like vertical scrolling, moving material instead, and we just kind of show it, you know? Something to think about later, I think. But yeah, I kind of want to move this logic out, because like ideally I could instead of constructing it here in the next frame or something, do the construction and everything. Because this should probably be completely moved into the damage pipeline. I think that's also what I missed from the refactor still. Because there should still be some helper functions. Yeah, apply healing over time to target. There's this construct healing gameplay effect. And then there's apply healing to target. And then internal and all that stuff. So definitely a mess. You know, we're not out of the hole yet. Sorry, I'm just doing some stuff here. We still have... we can keep going for another hour. So, let's do baby steps. Let us split that. Split that. So I want to do something similar I'm doing here. There's this construct damage effect spec handle, but with the healing effect. So my assumption is it should work relatively the same. Should be able to do it similarly. Just change it to construct healing. Spec handle. Generate that. Now I should be able to do something fairly similar. We'll have to introduce a new class. And one could argue, because I'm doing such redundant things, we could, you know, refactor this even further. And just, you know, say construct, you know, effect spec handle and pass in whether or not it's healing or not. Yeah, for me, I'm lucky if I do, like, I try to stream twice or 3 times a week for about 2.5 hours in those times. I do some work off stream, but, you know, sometimes you just have those days at work where, you know, I don't want to open Unreal at the moment. I'm kind of mentally exhausted. I want to just sit and play a game. I want to spend time with my girlfriend. I want to just chill, you know. So it's sometimes hit or miss on how often and for how long I stream. I try to be consistent, but, you know, it's tough, you know. And, you know, I know other people have full-time jobs as well, so, you know, people grind, you know. And, you know, God bless them. So we're gonna need to create another gameplay effect, I believe. Could work. Also put the header here, so I need to fix that. Fix. If I don't have at least 4 hours free to invest, I can't get anything done. If I have a doctor's appointment or something in 2 hours, my mind is already walking out the door. Can't focus. Yeah, it's like those memes where, you know, I have a doctor's appointment in 8 hours. I might as well just sit here and wait. Then yeah, we gotta update this. Systems, healing, no. That, now I should be able to copy things over. CPU. That. The. Yeah. That. Literally me, I schedule everything early morning so I get home. I feel like I have the rest of the day to do whatever. I mean, I'm kind of the same way in terms of, like, I'm a morning person. I like to get as much as I can done in the mornings when it comes to, for a long time, for like 9 months, I haven't been going to the gym, but I'm trying to slowly go back now. So I like to do the exercise, get that all out of the way, and then try to think I've earned the relaxation that comes with the rest of the day, which isn't really necessarily true. 28 hours, man? Are you crazy? Okay, so we have our healing over time effect that should work as we'd expect. We can close out a few things again. Go back to our damage pipeline. Now I should be able to say UGASC_healing effect. And time effect. Do all that. That should be more or less what this function can do. Next, we need to do apply healing to target internal. This stream was 25 hours. Like the stream you just did was 25 hours. Are you okay? That's kind of wild. You've earned a follow, my man. Like I could barely stay awake, Like I feel like I'm lazy now, I'll put apply healing to target internal. So it's gonna need to be very similar in its signature. Yeah, you gotta get your shit together. Me too. Sleeping? Are you for serious? Apply heal to target internal. We can generate that. Now we should do pretty similar things. There should be, again, this seems like a lot of redundancies, but I'd rather keep them separated. You're forgiven, for sure. We don't hold grudges in this house. Maybe I can now do apply healing. So I can look at those. I'll probably want to change this from float damage to float heal. Damage pipeline context. Heal context. Just change things for heal. Just to keep naming. Fine. So heal. So let's recopy that part of the signature. Down. All right. So we should be able to send spec handle, and we'll call this healing spec. That. Good. Damage context. It's heal context. Maybe we don't really need to do. We don't need this. We don't need to pass along a hit result. should be okay. This is the same warning. Yeah. Should be fine, I think. So now for the healing, we need to actually... Where's our damage execution again? We need to grab incoming healing. All seems fine. And for healing, though, I guess, yeah, no matter what, we'll want, like, the instigator for lifesteal most likely will be the player himself, but there could be other cases where we're applying healing elsewhere. So I think we still need this. So that seems valid. So now we should be able to do the rest of these functions. So apply healing to target, for example. I believe this one... I guess the issue I potentially have too is this statics library. No, not this one. System statics. Now I do have some redundancies and all that stuff because it just mixed calls into the damage pipeline and stuff like that. So when you join these more prestigious game development companies, are you given access to previous titles? I imagine they often reuse components or subsystems, but you can spend some time studying them if you wanted. I think that'd be so fun seeing how teams have built different aspects. Yeah, they do. They used Red Engine for Cyberpunk and Witcher 3. And also we're using Unreal Engine now, so like I didn't get a chance to look at Red Engine. I've heard all the stories about Red Engine. They had this thing called TweakDB. It was like this weird scripting language that was kind of crazy. But I personally haven't loaded up Red Engine and looked at like Witcher 3 from the perspective of Red Engine. But I do get to play a build of Witcher 3 that's like the development build, so I got to see like all these like debugs and all this stuff loading and things like that. It was pretty cool. So let's finish up. We gotta do a few things. So we'll do target handle first. Yeah, we should be able to just that. Context. Definitely gonna close that. Debug visuals are also so cool. Gives you insight into developer workflows. Yeah, like I have like a weird obsession with debugs and console commands and CVARs and stuff like that. Trying to get better in determining which ones we need and why, and trying to make them on my own, but seeing how things work. It's a lot of fun. A lot of this could be potentially generalized, but you know, fuck it. As long as it works. So we did target handles. That one's done. Apply healing to target. I don't think we have internal. Apply damage to targets. Go. That should be able to do this. So healing spec handle, doing heal context, that, but then apply heal target internal. Should be good. I will get this again. So we have apply healing to target handle, apply healing to target, and then there's apply healing over time. Okay. We just gotta find that structure. Well, I have the healing over time. Here we go. Should be a little. But that's also missing new functions. I don't know. Probably don't even need to be U functions, but whatever. Where were we? So apply heal over time. Also, I'm wondering, am I missing anything? All this nonsense too. Once again, creating an object, I think. I guess I'm not creating an object. Well, I am, I think, yeah. Let's handle this. Handle over time spec handle. Something's wrong. Healing effect over time. Let's just need Hmm. Oh. Classic mistake. Okay. Should be okay. And for now, should be able to add these as well to my statics. Apply healing to target, or I could say apply heal to target. Hoping this will work. A lot of boilerplate stuff. Also change these logs. Healing one. This last one. Time. Heal. Time. Healing. Heal. Heart. Okay. So in theory now, we'll need to look at if there's any references anywhere. So no blueprint usages, so we can move that one. No blueprint usages on that one. Awesome. No blueprint usages on that one. Guessing none of these either. We'll do it. We're gonna recompile and then we'll kind of deal with it and see if we missed anywhere. But let's assume we're good. Let's just now delete this stuff in here as well. Looks like we're good. Everything else is more or less relevant to the situation. Just this was like a ability system component blueprint library to help us out. So I should now got a kitty in the building. Hey, Google, you want to say hi to? She's shy. Now, at least in theory and my hopes and dreams are, I can go now into that damage execution again. And could, at this point, get the damage pipeline component. I don't know if I can get world though. Like from this directly, right? Is there a get world? Is. Could potentially use the stuff from the statics library because we do something like that. So I'll just grab it. We'll see if this works. We could just get world. And then include it. Good. Then we'll do apply heal over time to target. So yeah, we need to pass in target actor. I would argue that the instigator would still be the target. And then we need all the damage, right? Yeah. Damage. We also need to make healing context. How do I do this? I think I under construct. Okay, because I know, okay, this is the part, because it's apply over time, right? I want to do, and I need target actor, instigator, healing, cost, F damage pipeline context, and that's it, right? F damage pipeline context. Should be able to do that, and then nuke that. That. Yeah, which language are you coding in right now? Yeah, it's C++. I guess I don't need this. Huh? What am I missing though? Ah, for week. Right? I guess I would use the static. I guess I can use the statics, right? So, you. Target actor. Theory, that could work. Is it hard to learn if you can code in Verse and a bit of C#? I'm not familiar with Verse, but if you're comfortable with C#, that's a good foundation for C++. Yeah, true. I didn't really get into Verse too much, but I know, with Unreal Engine 6, they're gonna probably blend a lot of Verse and the base engine with the UEFN, so, potentially that's gonna be not a requirement, but a nice to kind of have. So in theory, this should be enough. Let's compile and see where we're at. We failed. Okay, so this is where I assumed we would be failing. So we should be able to say I do have this area effect damage context. Can I use? Whoop. That should be good. That was it. I had a feeling it was with the area effect stuff. Okay. So, in theory now... should work. Oh! What happened? Why did this fail? That's so bizarre. Let's try again. Let's try again. I'm assuming it's still going to crash, but let's see. Yes. So what is going on? Hi bro, what components does your computer have to run Unreal Engine 5? I mean, you can find the specs online. My computer has a 4090, I think. I think I have like 96 gigs of RAM. I forget the CPU and everything like that, but... Oh, is there like a... Alright, so there's a weird... Oh, the problem, I guess, is stemming from here. Let's just confirm that. I might need to maybe run this without the compiler just to see the exact fault stack that I'm dealing with. Maybe I shouldn't be doing this in C++. Maybe. Let's see. Yeah. And it's interesting too. It's showing a 0 when I do this version. I wonder if I would even want to see a damage number on me. But yeah. Well, maybe I can't do it through the statics, so Let's make the bold assumption for now that we need to do it through the damage pipeline option. So I want to look at the statics implementation, right? I can just do this. So maybe the fact that, I don't know, we'll see. Let's see if that changes anything for us. I just want to see if this will crash again. Now we're not crashing, so that's good. Let's put our at 100%. So we're not healing. So that's not good. So I'm guessing world fails. Which makes sense, I guess, because we're in an execution class, right? I'm assuming that's not going to pass. Yeah, it didn't pass. So, checks out. So I should just be able to get it from the target actor. It should hopefully work. Hopefully we won't get a crash now that we're going to actually be executing this line. Okay, fingers crossed. Ah. We're just getting straight up crash. Is it? I need to play. Straight from the editor so I can get the crash report. Because it's complaining about Unreal names. Header is wide. Is it because the name of the healing class is way too fucking long? Could be. So let's just do it. Get a crash. We'll wait till it do its thing. Okay. Not much information yet. I don't know really what this means. That is such a... Is it like a... Feels like potentially like a... Definitely not an infinite loop, but... I know you guys probably can't even see what it says, but... I'll just copy. I gotta look and check. Bit plain name string. So it is an infinite loop. Okay. So what's happening? Let's break it down. We do this, we do if you or whatever, damage pipeline, apply heal to target, we go. Then we go construct damage effect spec handle. So that's the problem here. We need to construct healing effect spec handle. I'm assuming I'm doing this in other places incorrectly as well. So apply heal, internal, apply damage. So we don't need to. Yeah, we can do that, but yeah, apply heal. This is what I get for copy and pasting all over the fucking place, right? So we need to do apply heal. That one's right. Okay, so let's see if that works. Well, let's see if I broke the cycle here. Awesome. No crash. Now, are we also healing correctly? No. I'm not going to end the stream in a broken place here, so let's see what's going on. So we get to here, right? So do we get to this point? Just to confirm. Yes. Okay. So we get in here. We construct the healing effect and then apply healing internal. So we should eventually get here. We're gonna just continue there. So bam, 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 bam. So we're healing the instigator. Okay. Want to target. Okay. This should hopefully work. Okay. Next time is the charm. Okay. Low key, that gave me a heart attack. I thought it was a good crash. Okay, so still a problem. So what's wrong? See, so let's smack it. Who are we? Still. Okay, so I guess I'm. Okay, so I'm just dumb as fuck. Yeah, in the context of the execution, it's not the target. So we want to give it back to the source. That as well. Two. And the whole, we're doing double broadcasting and stuff, and I'm not too happy about that. But that should do it. Let's try again. Take a picture of my cat. He's looking cute in the background. Not sure how well this photo's gonna show up for you guys, but look at the kitty. Looking adorable. But did that pass? Did. Spam. So now I'm healing. Great. So I definitely want to, I guess, encode for the damage number. Maybe not show damage. Well, I mean, it's weird that I get 0 damage, even though I'm doing 10 damage to myself when I do the automatic damage. So I'll need to look into that. But for now, we're good. So I think I got everything I wanted to. Everything is now in the damage pipeline. And, still not as optimal as I'd like. But, I think the main blocker really is the UI again. So let's just be sure, just to check one last time. So there's applied damage to target internal. here. It's mostly, yeah, this lifesteal thing is doing 100. This whole container aspect of it is about 200 microseconds, almost 300 microseconds. And yeah, there's this whole tick aspect of it. But I think if I move this lifesteal container and have this kind of drawing via code, I think it will help a lot, because there's also, you know, we create it, we add it to the canvas, and we're doing all this like animation stuff. So it's definitely a huge part of this. And then there's also all this net code being executed for net multitask. Both gameplay executed. I don't think we really need at a certain point. Because, you know, I'm gonna have to figure this one out too. Like, if I can get like a basic hit to be as the least impactful in terms of CPU, the happier I'm going to be. So I think the next step is to research and probably get ChatGPT's help on how to draw stuff via Slate and Paint and stuff like that, to draw these icons in a more performant way. But before I do that, I should probably create similar delegate bindings and stuff like that. Let's we have this on hit event listener. I should probably do on, like, I don't know if I should create separate listeners for healing, or like on health modification event listener or something, so you can listen to healing or damage. And then make those callbacks so that I can use those callbacks in code. That's what we'll do probably on Thursday. We'll do that, and then we'll maybe look at the health icon stuff. But yeah, we'll try some stuff out and we'll see where it goes. No tick per child, typically 5 to 10 microseconds per frame, even with 20 to 50 active icons. Scales well. Okay, so yeah, we're gonna work on that. Yo, what's up, Root Killer? Okay, bad news. You came in just at the very end of the stream. So we're calling it there. There's a good amount of us still watching here on Twitch, so let's go ahead. Let's pay it forward since we got raided. Let's go ahead and raid. Do we have any people? We'll raid my friend Odom Q. Oh, it's Eric. Hey, Eric. I just remembered that's your name. Thanks for popping in at the very end, man. I appreciate it. Thanks for all the help you do and all the good you do. We're going to raid my friend Odom Kyo. So if you like art, definitely check out his work. Thanks for everybody who watched today. Thanks for all the new followers. So make sure if you're watching from Twitch, make sure to follow. If you're watching from YouTube, make sure to subscribe. Definitely check out our Discord. And until then, enjoy your guys' evening, and I'll see you soon.
Side, I think there are rat dudes that we don't have to kill, but there was a lot of healing items. And then who did that? Yo, Devin, thanks, dude. Thanks for the raid. How is you? How is the dev work coming along? What's good, man? How you been? You just take Yummy's vote and play DS2.